So, welcome everybody. This is, I'm Jamie Delap, I'm the owner of Fyne Ales. Pawel is our head of Origins Brewing, and we are here tasting Elegy. Now this one, this is a beer to be tasted. So we're going to dive straight in, shall we? I think we should dive straight in. We'll tell the story after we've had a taste.
So Elegy is our collaboration with Cigar City from Florida.
Yeah.
The beer was brewed in 2018.
Yep, that would be right. Yes.
Yeah. So beer is inspired by Scottish tablet, right?
Yeah. So that's So let's say with the first idea of this, we sat down with Wayne from Cigar City over in Sierra Nevadas, very, very beautiful new brewery in North Carolina. And we were knocking around ideas as to what was going to inform this beer. And I suppose the first thing was that the guys down at Springbank have been friends for years. We pour beer at their open days, and they've always been lovely people to work with. We did the Fyne Bank, which is our smoked pale ale with them sort of back a few years ago, and we've always enjoyed doing things with them. But we've never felt that we'd nailed doing something with one of their whiskey casks, which always felt like a huge missed opportunity. So we're doing a brew with Wayne, who is one of the world's better experts on brewing spirit barrel aged beers. So we thought, well, okay, let's try and tie those two things together first off. And then we were looking for another concept. And my father's absolute favourite thing was whiskey tablet, which is, like, for those that aren't Scottish, it's basically a whiskey fudge. So we were really looking for that whiskey fudge as our sort of inspiration for an idea. Trying to explain to Wayne from Florida or South Carolina, I'm not sure where he's from originally, what tablet was. That was a whole nother challenge. but I think, so really trying to do something brilliant with hazelburn barrels and with whiskey fudge as our sort of whiskey tablet as our inspiration was where the ideas for the beer came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this beer was brewed with a lot of different malts. It's basically around nine different crystal and dark malts. The idea was to brew something very sweet, rich in flavor, with very low bitterness and basically no roastiness at all.
So that's why we've gone for it. We called it an imperial dark ale rather than imperial stout, because we're not looking for that stout sort of roasted toastiness at all in this beer. We're looking for much smoother, rounder flavors.
Yeah, and as you said, beer was aged for 12 months, over 12 months actually, in Hazelburn single malt whiskey barrels.
Yeah, and when we were talking to the guys from Springbank and to Wayne ahead of the project, I think one of the things we were quite not afraid of, but one of the things that we thought was going to be difficult about this was taking a whiskey with any sort of a strong phenolic character. So as soon as you're going to a peated whiskey, you're getting all these sort of iodines, phenols coming through, which is really quite hard to brew a beer that's going to stand up well against those. Which is why we went for the Hazelburn. So I think Springbank, they brew the Hazelburn is their no peat, then the Springbank, then the Long Row is their high peated one. So we thought we'd go absolutely for the low peat no peat to avoid that sort of flavour. And I think that's nice, because I think, again, that sort of peated note is a pretty difficult one to build a beer against, isn't it?
Let's check it out.
Yeah, and And I think, the idea was by using nine looking for a really complex malt bill that was going to produce a sort of a complex big beer that would stand up well against the whiskey.
Right.
And I think, again, to get the long aging, we wanted a really high ABV on it, because as Pal knows, our brew kit, we don't have that big a mash tun on our small brew kit. So
it was double mash.
A double mash to really get that ABV up. So so here we go. So that Elegy. Yeah. So that's we taste.
There's definitely a lot of chocolate.
Yeah.
Prominent sweet caramel. it's very lasting finish.
Yeah.
It's very long, lingering.
Yeah. No, it's a beer that you're going to sit and sip slowly over time, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I think last time I spent with this beer over 1 hour and a half.
Right.
But it was really, really great experience.
Yeah.
Because I started with a little bit kind of cold. I think we suggest to drink it around 14 degrees, but I think I started even lower than that. But as I was just holding beer in my hands, it was warming up, and with every sip was getting more. I mean, I could pick up something different all the time.
Yeah.
So it was getting more complex and more interesting.
Yeah. Yes. No. I think this is a beer for either keeping outside and maybe giving it just like sort of an hour or two in the fridge before you drink it.
Right.
But I think it's one that would benefit from not being too cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you start with it cold, as Pawel says,
Right,
take
yeah.
your time and let it evolve and warm up over time.
Yeah. But you can also just drink it at room temperature perfectly. It will be really good experience too.
Yeah. And I think it's nice. The whiskey is very much present, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah.
And that was the trick, the balance that we were looking for, because that's I think one of the things about brewing with bourbon casks is bourbon is quite a round, smooth flavour. It melds in very easy with whiskey. But particularly, I remember when started to taste like sort of 5-6 years ago. I remember quite a few people coming out with sort of really nice stouts that have been aged in whiskey casks, and I was like, Scotch whiskey casks, and I'm like, I like the whiskey, I like the stout, but these two aren't fitting together quite so well for me. And that's obviously things have moved a long way, and there's been a lot of very nice whiskey cask aged beers out there. But I think this is what's quite nice. It's quite a challenge to work out how do you fit the whiskey and the beer together.
Right. Because many times whiskey aged beers get dry out really like too much, and this one is just confirms that there was really big base beer, and there's still a lot of sweetness, residual sweetness.
Well, I think again that's what that double mash was looking for, a lot of complex sugars that the yeast wasn't going to get near in order to leave that nice residual sweetness. I think when we were brewing it, I think originally we thought we'd maybe go slightly drier with it, just a little bit. But actually, I like the level of sweetness that it's at. And I think particularly against that original idea of that whiskey tablet that Dad used to love. It's his little sort of secret post dinner, or in fact almost any time of the day, sort of secret snack. I think that really works well.
Yeah, I also really like the mouthfeel of this beer. It's like very silky. It's very long finish.
But again, what's nice is it's silky. It's got a lot of mouthfeel, but it's not a chew. It's one that's sliding down and sitting very comfortably in your mouth. Certainly I find the end of the bottle is going just as well as the beginning of the bottle. So, folks, Elegy, our latest release, not a part of a collection because we're in lockdown, and hey, we can't get out and introduce everything to you in collections. So this is Elegy, and we hope you all enjoy it. Cheers.